You know what it is. It's Marvel Monday. A new Marvel movie just came out this weekend. I went to go see it because I'm staying a part of this Marvel train into Phase 5 and so forth and so on. Today we're going to review the newest Guardians of the Galaxy movie, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. But before I hop into it, if there's a review you want me to do, let me know. Please put in the comment section below and I get to it as best I can. Now I have a Patreon, Zakka for $2 a month. I cut in front of everybody, and your review you asked me to do gets in front of everybody. I cut in front of everybody for you, because you paying me. You paying me. I get in front of everybody for $2 a month. Get the review out waiting for it on Facebook and YouTube, all on the Patreon. $2 a month, I'll review it, get it out there for you. Now, let's go and get to today's episode 2023's Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. You know it is, brand new movie. First half of the review is non-spoiler. The back half is gonna be spoiler, and I'll let you guys know when the spoiler starts. So, what is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 about? This movie is about Peter Quill, who is still reeling over the loss of Gamora, but while he's handling his business, one of his closest friends gets put into a situation that causes his life to be endangered, and the Guardians of the Galaxy that go on a mission to save their friend's life and at the same time save the universe. That is the gist of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Now, the things that I did like, I love Rocket Raccoon. I love Karen Gilliam's character, Nebula. I love Peter Quill and the reaction he has with Gamora, because she's also back into this as well. I love the dynamic of them, the actors and characters. I mean, Bautista as Drax the Destroyer and Mantis and their reaction, how they bounce off each other and the stuff they're dealing with. Like, the Guardians of the Galaxy has been together for a long time at this point, and they are still trying to figure out how to really play off of each other and how to really to connect and bond with each other. Yes, they've been going on missions, but they have never really opened up with each other in this until this movie. And you also feel some of them kind of getting tired of just putting up with stuff that the other characters have been doing. For example, you watch Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, or you just seen Volume 1, or you seen all the other ones with like Thor Love and Thunder and Infinity War and Endgame. You know how Nebula is. Nebula is like, doesn't really have much emotions, kind of like telling everybody like, hey, I'm not doing this, we're not doing this, straight to the point. Which you got Drax, who's a very emotional character who loves to have fun, and Mantis, who can feel emotions. Like, their dynamic, when they come together with each other, they kind of learn about each other, learn about how to really, you know, pretty much be compassionate towards one another. It is some good stuff. This is probably the first Marvel movie while I'm watching, maybe because I'm getting older, where I'm not really caring about the action. I want more from the story. I want more from the characters. I want more to see. So anytime the action pieces came through, I was like, okay, I'm cool, but I really want to see what happened between Gamora and Peter Quill. I want to see what happened between Mantis and Nebula. I want to see what happened with Drax in the group. I want to see more of that. I want to see more of Rocket Raccoon's backstory. In this movie, you get a lot of Rocket Raccoon's backstory, where this movie is almost a Rocket Raccoon movie that's within a Guardians movie. Like, you learn about his life and how he got who he is. And something they've been, talked about in the first two movies, and everybody calls him a raccoon. He goes, I'm not a raccoon. Well, you finally get that. You finally understand that. And this is all in the trailer, by the way. Y'all understand what his backstory is. Like, that right there is something that I love. And the movie will do this sometime where they have the storyline here, and then they'll cut to Rocket sleeping, and his backstory pops up, and he's learning more about his backstory, and he's revealing his backstory, kind of living his life in a sense through his time in this movie. Now, there are times when the movie just cut right into the backstory. It don't really give you a lead up, but there's other times where it does give you a lead up, where you see what Rocket's pretty much reliving as he's asleep in this movie. I enjoy the characters. The visuals are still good. James Gunn does a good job with his visuals, and his action pieces are still cool. You have the slow motion stuff where they're moving around, slow motion shooting, and then there's a huge hallway corridor scene where it's a one shot and you just following each character as they're fighting a horde of monsters and bad guys in the scene. This movie does have a lot of cussing in it. The F-bomb is dropped in this movie, which I was like, wow, okay, Marvel was getting really loose. F-bomb, a-hole, S-word, like all the cuss words you can think of is dropped in this movie, like everywhere left and right. So be prepared for that if you're a parent with your kids gonna watch this movie. Like, just be prepared to all the cussing. And the movie is also kind of graphic. Like, people are getting blown up and like incarcerated, incinerated, shot through the head, shot through the body, like faces getting mutilated. Like, this movie has a bunch of horror aspects in it as well for a PG-13 movie that I was like, oh, they're pushing the limits right now. Like, they are, if this is the line, they're like trying to like bite through it, if that makes sense. They're not quite over it yet, but they are like right at the edge of the line. Like, it's like, you can see this, I'm like inches away from my palm. That's how they are in this movie. Like, instead of going to live, they're like almost touching. James Gunn's like, I'm gonna squeeze this line as close as possible. Not gonna pop it, just gonna get right there. Like, that's how they are with this movie. It's definitely something I wasn't expecting for a Guardians of the Galaxy movie. The music is still fine. I actually like how the music in this movie, you know, it's licensed music. The first two movies seen it the same way. They really do a good job incorporating the music into like the movie. Like, the characters playing a song on their headphone or on a I can't think of the name of it. Like, not an audio track. It's a record player, not a track player. Can't think. A tape player. Thank you. So think to myself. But anyway, they're playing on a tape player. And they're playing that, and they listen to that song, then the song plays over, you know, the rest of the soundtrack of the show or the movie, whatever else is going on, and then until the character stops, the music, the song stops. So the song doesn't stop until the player, I keep saying player like a video game player, but like the character stops the song. So Rocket has done it when he played a song and everybody listen to it, could come to the sound speaker. Peter Quill putting his headset in, and Don't Sleep Till Brooklyn by Beastie Boys is playing, which I'm glad it's that one. That we want to rock, we want to fight for your right to party. I'm glad it's that one, but at the same time, Beastie Boys, we get into so many other movies that we don't need to have it in this movie, but it's fine. Like, they get done other movies. Reasons was a weird one to listen to while fighting was going on in the background. Like, but Reasons by Earth, Wind, and Fire. You ever heard that song? Go listen to it. And I was like, I never thought I would hear Reasons by Earth, Wind, and Fire playing during an action sequence. But all right, I'm here for it. I am here for it. Also, another thing I liked was the High Evolutionary. He's the main villain in this movie. I like the whole, he's pretty much another villain who's like, I'm seeing the world as it is. It's not imperfect. I want to make sure it's perfect for everybody. So I'm going to do what I can with animals and make these animals into the perfect being to make the perfect world. And if it's not perfect, I'll just throw them away and start over. Well, that's what he's doing in this movie. And he's at first kind of comical and collected. And by the end of the movie, he's just like a villain. We just screaming and stuff like that. Powerful wise, I don't know how he is in the comic books. I never heard like the High Evolutionary being a threat. But the actor who plays him did a good job bringing him to life as like a psychotic but like sane psychotic character. I like that. I liked his parts in the movie. Like, I felt like he was definitely terrifying as a villain. Like, you couldn't trust him because he will snap at any moment and do something horrible. So I definitely give him that. But I never felt like how can the Guardians stop him? Like, Thanos was like, how are you gonna stop Thanos? In this movie, you're like, oh, we'll see how they beat him, what they're gonna do. So yeah, the High Evolutionary was a cool part of this movie. Something that I am lukewarm on is lukewarm. Adam Warlock. I was lukewarm on Adam Warlock and pretty much kind of played out his whole character at the end of the movie, how he's gonna turn out. In this movie, in the trailer, he looked like a cool character, and in the end of the movie, you're like, okay, I seen that one coming from Adam Warlock, especially when the villain is the High Evolutionary and he's supposed to be a villain as well. You're just like, the way this movie's going, okay, that makes sense. And then the ending song, something I was lukewarm on, which they play a 2000 song. This is not really a sport, I'm not gonna tell you what it is, but they play a 2000 song, and I was like, oh, they're getting 2000s. What we gonna get here? And then the song that's playing didn't match really the choreography of the characters and the dancing that was going on in the movie. So I was like, but they're all listening to the same song. So that's why I was like, it didn't make sense to me. I was like, okay, well, cool. It's a happy-go-lucky moment, but at the same time, it felt like it didn't match the vibe the characters was doing if the song was playing throughout the system. If the song was playing through the system, there's a few other songs they could have done that get people up, dancing around, that wasn't just like Groot was getting into it. And I was like, Groot, this is not the song that you get into it with that dance music. That's a lukewarm thing. That's one of those nitpicks. But the really bad part, or the thing I didn't dislike with this movie is the runtime. The movie is 2 hours and 30 minutes long, and it definitely felt 2 hours and 30 minutes long. Like, the first hour flew by. Then the ending didn't feel that fast, didn't feel long. But the mid part, there was parts where like scenes where characters would do something and break out, and instead of like moving forward to release everybody, they would sit and look around for a moment, and then something happens. And then they start screaming and crying instead of escaping everybody else, while other characters are like, we gotta go, we gotta go, gotta go, gotta go, gotta go. And they're screaming, and you're like, if you just move, we could cut this seconds down a little bit before the next scene happened. But there's certain scenes where you could have cut a few seconds off. Maybe you could shave off 10 minutes. And I think the movie wouldn't have been affected badly by it. It's just that there's scenes where it's just like, okay, I definitely felt like you could have cut off maybe 5 to 10 minutes where they didn't have to be an hour and 30 minutes long, but it's fine. Other thoughts here. There are 2 after credit scenes, so stay around for that. And the comedy is subjective. I found stuff funny in this movie, but other people next to me in the theaters didn't find funny. I think Jax, to me, his comic ability, or his not comic relief, I guess his comic relief, but when he comes in, his comedic timing with other characters was funny. And I just thought, Bautista, Jackson's story is still just a great character in this movie. Mantis has some cool, funny parts, and so does Nebula actually has some funny parts as well. So, yeah, the comedy in this movie is still good. It's not as funny as the first 2 to me, but you'll find some comedic bits of this. Alright, let's go and get into cast, details, and all that good stuff. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 came out 2023, PG-13, 230 minutes. Directed by James Gunn, written by James Gunn. He's the only one on this. So far, got box office for opening weekend. It grossed $114 million this weekend, and worldwide is at $282 million. So we'll see what happens when this movie comes out of the theaters. The cast, you have Chris Pratt as Peter Quill. Great work. Like, at first, Peter Quill was a character who was an alcoholic. He didn't know how he was going to recuperate because he's dealing with the things of, Gamora's loss, and how he's going to react. And he kind of really learns to kind of learn about himself in this movie. This is his journey to learn about himself in this movie. Chukwudi Iwuju, sorry I mentioned your name, with the High Evolutionary. I thought he was a threatening character. I thought Iwuji did a good job bringing his character to life as well and making him threatening. And he was like, oh my gosh, this is a horrible character to be around. And I feel like he was threatening, menacing. Good work for another villain. Is he going to be a high memorable villain? I don't think so. I don't think he'll be up there in villains that you'll remember. But for this movie, he did a great work in. Bradley Cooper as Rocket. Great work. Nothing else to add there. Palm Kelmentif, who plays Mantis. Good job. This is like her movie as well. Like, she one of the shining parts of this movie. Great work from her. Mantis, I never thought was a character that really was taken seriously. In this movie, she's still a joke character, but she has more serious parts in here where she's just not that comic relief character. Dave Bautista as Drax, perfect. Nothing else to say. Karen Gillan as Nebula, great work from her. Like, those 3 characters right there, just solid. And then Nebula with Chris Pratt as well is also a solid bit, and they play off each other really well. Nebula almost like the pseudo leader of the Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, she makes sure everybody kind of stay aligned, stay together, and at certain parts of the movie, really intelligent, but then doesn't explain stuff to Mantis or Drax, and when they do things, it's like, you didn't explain anything to me. You didn't tell us anything. I just thought she was great. Groot, who's voiced by Vin Diesel, good work. And then Austin Freeman, who's on-set Groot, who does the body and mannerisms for Groot. Good work for him as well. I think Groot, solid. Groot was kind of there at this point in the movie as the the muscle. He doesn't really have much else to add to this movie. He's just a big dude who comes in to help him fight. He definitely is the muscle of this group, and he's more like, I guess, young adult group. Some good work there. Will Poulter as Adam Warlock. I thought Will did a good job. Like, is a dude, I can't remember. I think what other movies he in? He's in We're the Millers, Maze Runner, Chronicle of Narnia, Detroit. I feel like he's in other stuff. Maybe it is We the Millers. But I've seen Will before in other stuff. And but he did good. They did good as Adam Warlock. It's just like, the thing is, Will Poulter, Adam Warlock's character in the movie, Adam Warlock wasn't written really, really well to me. That like anybody could be Adam Warlock in this movie. But as far as the person goes, I thought he did a great job. I thought Will did a good job, and I'm curious to see what goes forward with his character as well. And that's pretty much it when it comes to the main crew. Like, yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm trying to think, anybody else I miss? Peter Quill. Oh, Gamora, who is played by Zoe Saldana. I was about to forget about her. IMDb didn't put her on top cast. But Gamora in this movie, Zoe Saldana brings a different level of Gamora that she didn't bring in the other movies. While the other Gamoras are more like kind of calm, cool, collected. This Gamora is like, F all y'all. Like, she is definitely out for herself, and she shows him how she's out for herself. She has more aggression, more like cutthroat, and you can see why she's like considered a threat in the universe. Like the other Gamora, you didn't really see as she was a threat. This movie, you definitely see why people fear Gamora. Like, she is definitely a threat. I thought Zoe Saldana did a great job being Gamora, and being a different Gamora that's like out of a different timeline, who's just like, I'm not the same Gamora that you guys want me to be. Like, I'm here, we're completely different, and I adore that. I adore Zoe Saldana's bringing this Gamora where she's not acting the same way as the other Gamora. She's a completely different Gamora. Loved it. I think Gamora in this movie was great, and I love just how her dynamic with the Guardians of the Galaxy was in this movie. Solid work. Solid work. And one last person I'll give a shout out to, that is Elizabeth Debicki, who plays the High Priestess, Aisha. She's back in this movie as well, and I thought she was a fun, cool character as well. Like, she has some good parts in this movie. So yeah, like that's the main cast of this movie. Now, any other thoughts? Not really. Like, I think I mentioned everything. The music is solid as far as like how it's used in the movie. It's Guardians of the Galaxy, so you know, get some 80s music, you get some 80s, and then you try getting early 2000s music as well in this movie. The action pieces are great. The visuals are great. There's so many times where you're seeing the characters pose in a sense. You're like, this is a wallpaper pose. This is a computer screen pose. Cell phone background pose. So there's some bunch of stuff in here that I thought was great as far as visuals go. And main story is fine. All right. Is this a movie you should watch in theaters or pay money to go see or pay money to buy? Yes, if you're a Marvel fan, definitely pay money to buy this movie. I think you'll enjoy it. You're going to have a good time with this one. Complete your Guardians of the Galaxy collection. Now, grading time. I'm going to grade the movie Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 from 2023. I'm going to give this movie a B-. It gets an 80% for me. I think it's a solid movie. Really good. Not as good as the first two, but at the same time, the length of the movie is kind of long. It's 230 minutes, and that kind of affects it. Could have cut some scenes out of it. Also, the villain's not that strong of it. Like, the actor does a good portrayal of the villain, but he doesn't really impact the story. As sense of like, you gotta really like the way the movie goes out with him. You're kind of like, okay, it's fine. And then, you know, Adam Warlock's character, who's very like lukewarm. Like, he's there, but he's not that good. But as far as the acting goes, the cast, the chemistry between everybody, some good work here. It's, to me, definitely a B- movie and 80%. It's fun, and you're gonna have a good time, but also it's not a movie that I think that everyone's gonna remember like down the line. Like, dang, you remember Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3? I don't think we're all gonna be like that, but hey, they had a good time in the box office. They had a good time at the box office on set. You can tell the actors and actresses had fun. So good work here. All right, let's go ahead and see what IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes have to say about this movie. So IMDb currently gives the movie an 8.4 out of 10. That is a B. And Rotten Tomatoes gives it 81%. That's a B-. Would you look at that? And then the critics give this movie a 95%, which is an A, and solid A. So, or sorry, not the critics, the fans. So the critics gives a B minus. The fans give this movie, the audience, I should not fans, but the audience gives the movie a 95%, which is an A. So I'm right there with the critics for IMDb. IMDb gives an 8.4. I give it a B minus at 80%. Rotten Tomatoes give it an 81%. And then, the audience give it a 95%. So, boom. If you guys seen Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, what did you think? Please put in the comment section below. Other than that, see you guys next episode of movie breakdowns. And you want spoilers, hang around in 3, 2, 1. Spoiler time. So the big spoilers here, I'm gonna go ahead and give you the 2 ending credits. The first ending credit is pretty much like Rock is the new leader of the Guardians of the Galaxy. Him, Adam Warlock, Groot, Cosmo's a space dog, and one of the girls they pick up from this alien or from the Animal Planet. So they're all together, and and Sean Gunn's character Cargill, he's also one of the current Guardians of the Galaxy. And they're doing a mission. It's just like showing the Guardians of the Galaxy still exists. Because at the end of this movie, Peter Quill retires, Mantis retires, Nebula decides to stay on Nowhere as a mayor of the city. Drax stays on Nowhere to like help grow everybody. So grow the kids that get saved. So they're off on their own. Peter Quill goes back to Earth. So the second after credit scene, Peter Quill's on Earth and he meets his granddad, and then his granddad's talking about some guy across the street who's 45 years old who doesn't cut grass. And Peter Quill's like saying something about it. They say something else and the movie goes off. Don't know what really that scene was about, but apparently lead up to some other character, or maybe just some them just talking, playing around. But they say Star-Lord will return in the future movies, so he will be back. But the Guardians of the Galaxy looks to be done as far as like their series goes. They are done. It's the final volume. Rocket Raccoon is pretty much dying in this movie, so like the Guardians of the Galaxy is trying to save Rocket Raccoon, and they're going ahead and go back to Rocket's flashback where you find out he's a legit raccoon who got like a human brain put inside of him, or not say a human brain, but intelligent brain put inside of him. And the High Visionary wants Rocket Raccoon to save him, or he don't want to say he wants to use his brain to help him develop other creatures to make them to more peaceful, a peaceful race. So he's taking animals, messing with them, putting different brains inside of them, and Rocky kind of helps them understand like, hey, using a certain formula to make these animals when they turn to humanoids rage, take this form and change it and make it more of a peaceful, and he does that, but nobody else can figure it out but Rocket. So he wants Rocket's brain, but for some reason he didn't want it early in the movie. He wanted it now, or other 2 movies he wanted now. And High Priestess Aisha, she sends Adam Warlock to Nowhere where the Guardians of the Galaxy is located at to capture Rocket Raccoon, to take him back to the High Visionary, because the High Evolutionary put a hit out on Rocket. But I guess he didn't care if Rocket was gonna die, so I don't like, if the High Evolutionary knew Rocket was gonna die, I guess he would have saved Rocket, but he didn't. He just wanted the brain. So I guess he wanted to kill him and take his brain out. Like I think he does say that, remove his brain in the morning, or whatever the case may be. But it was like Adam Warlock was just there to be a hitman, and he just did add some drama to the movie that wasn't really necessary. Like the drama was already there. Rocket is dying, and it's a race against time to save Rocket. So you gotta go to the High Evolutionary's place, get the data code, because the High Evolutionary put like a patent lock on his heart because he was working on him. So somebody was trying to mess with him and open him up, and he'll die. So any kind of surgery on it will kill Rocket Raccoon, which is your most highest piece that you consider so valuable you're gonna let die, because he needed him so much at the end of the movie that he was like willing to destroy everybody else to get Rocket Raccoon. But he didn't care if he died, I guess. He just wanted the brain, but the body intact. But the body blows up, then you lose. There's parts of it where I was like, I didn't want to say in the non-spoiler section where like the High Evolutionary was making mistakes. I felt like if you needed Rocket's body, you needed his brain, wouldn't you want him alive and intact? Would you not want him dead? Like, I just didn't understand. Like, you're risking him blowing up, but when he blows up, and then you lost everything. So your mission was done. It's like Dragon Ball Z. You kill Piccolo and Kami, the Dragon Balls go away. Your mission is done. If you won the Dragon Balls, you messed up because you killed the 2 people who you needed to make sure the Dragon Balls worked. So that was something to me that I felt like was a little bit of a loophole there writing wise. Like that didn't make sense. So everybody should have been gentle picking up Rocket, but they didn't. Gamora was one of the best pieces of this movie, and her interaction with the Guardians of the Galaxy was great because this Gamora is not the same Gamora in the other movies. She's not. She's completely different. Like imagine you meeting your significant other, going back in time, meeting your significant other way early in the past, and they haven't met you yet in the future, so they're not attracted to you at all. They don't know you yet. They're not in the right mind space. But that's pretty much what Gamora is. And like I don't know if I went back in time, met my significant other back in, earlier in their life, would they be like willing to date me or what the case might be? Like I don't know, but like imagine Peter Quill going through that and he's like, we were so good together. And she's like, we probably was, but it's not for us. So Peter Quill and Gamora does go the opposite way in this movie. They don't stick together. Gamora's part of Ravagers now. She did escape from Thanos, part of Ravagers, and one of like the highest Ravagers. That's her new family. The Guardians of the Galaxy have their own family now. And the song I was talking about in the movie that was like, they played Florence and the Machine, The Dog Days Are Over, which Groot was like dancing like he was dancing to like a b-boy song or a hip-hop song. He's like breakdancing and all this stuff. I was like, bro, you're pop locking like you listen to Wobble, but this song Florence and the Machine is not the song that pop and lock to. Like it's not the song that you pop and lock to. You pop and like you listen to a Drake song and you I was like, that song doesn't make sense. But anyway, like the Guardians are on their own thing now. Gamora's with the Ravengers, so that's all been tied up. Any other thing I really want to spoil in this movie? Rocket becomes a new leader. I talked about that a moment ago. Not really much else. Like Adam Warlock was there just to be like a bounty hunter for the High Evolutionary, who Aisha, the High Priestess Aisha, that was in the second Guardians of the Galaxy movie. She revealed Adam Warlock, and the reason why, because she needed him to hunt down the Guardians of the Galaxy because the High Evolutionary wanted Rocket, and because they failed, he's like, hey, you gotta do this or y'all gonna die, pretty much. So she's trying to save her race in order to capture Rocket, so her life or her race for Rocket's life. She's like, no brainer. But Adam Warlock, the reason why he's a mid character, or not mid, but lukewarm to me in this movie because he was only 6 years old. Like she released him early, so he had the mindset of a child, and he acted that way in this movie. So he wasn't really that big of a threat. And at the end of the movie, he does join the Guardians of the Galaxy. Like I saw it coming when he loses Aisha to the High Evolutionary because he blows up a planet. He had nothing else to go for, and the Guardians were like, hey, we'll take you in, man. We've all been villains. We've all been criminals. We got you, bro. No worries. So I saw that coming. I don't think there's anything else I really want to talk about. I think I pretty much said everything I wanted to say. You do get to learn about Rocket's backstory and him getting worked on and him getting, tampered with from a raccoon to, a humanoid raccoon. And then you also see a bunch of other characters like Floor, Teeth, and Lilith, with like the otter, who they're like all good friends and they all died. And they did the whole thing where Rocket's not your time, go back and be a hero kind of thing. And yeah, I saw that coming too. But the movie's fine. I like the movie. It's a solid storyline. I think it's definitely a Rocket movie. Rocket's out for most of the movie to the end, which is cool to give him a character who kind of a jerk. Give him a little backstory about who they are and why he doesn't block out friends. Why he blocks out friends, because he lost his friends. Like, it's sad. It's sad. But I enjoyed Guardians of the Galaxy 3. That is the spoiler section. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Movie Breakdowns, and keep being awesome. Thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. I really appreciate that. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. If there's a review you want me to watch or do, let me know. Please put it in the comment section below this video. Also, you want to watch the last episode of Movie Breakdowns, it's right there. Just gotta click on it and you'll be able to watch it. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. Love y'all, and keep being awesome.